My name is Alex Sanchez. I'm with the Purdue Exponent, and we are at the Indiana State Sanatorium to take a look around today.
There was a lot of deaths here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody just walked away and everything was left behind. So there's a lot of rumors about this sanatorium. We don't know a lot of the details yet. The sanatorium closed in 2011, but beforehand it was a mental asylum, a tuberculosis treatment center, and a nursing facility. It's said to be a home to many poltergeists, scary happenings, and a lot that is just kind of left up in the air. According to posts online, over 10,000 people have died here.
Hi, my name is Greg Larson. I am the owner of the Indiana State Sanatorium. I first saw the property about 4 years ago. I purchased it in the middle of the COVID pandemic in early 2021. The Indiana State Sanatorium was built in 1908. It operated as a tuberculosis hospital until 1968.
So first up here we have a building built in the early 20th century. Used to house tuberculosis patients.
Tuberculosis was a highly contagious disease that they believed was cured or at least helped by clean, fresh air. And so they wanted to have both clean, fresh air and a quarantinable space. And so they founded this hospital/town in the middle of effectively nowhere. At least in the early days, it appears as though if you worked here, you had to live here. And this was a very premier tuberculosis hospital that had the best doctors available. People tried to get in here. So this place was a place of hope. Everyone was trying to get better, but a lot of people weren't.
We have a tempting staircase, which I'm sure we will find leads to somewhere equally creepy. I'm almost like a little hesitant to lead at this point.
Just go down there. Let's go.
So, I don't know if you guys just saw, but there was a lot of wind when we walked into this room.
The heebie-jeebie factor of the big buildings is off the charts. I'm not gonna lie, it is off the charts. I go in those buildings at night when I am getting paid.
I might be a little bit of a skeptic, but that was kind of weird.
If anywhere in the world is haunted, let's say, or paranormally active, there's a handful of places that would be on that list. And any tuberculosis sanatorium would be on that list.
What's a little unnerving is that this isn't a children's section. There are dolls and there are drawings and creaks too.
Again, when I say this was a town, it was a town in the sense that they had their own dairy barn and they had their own chicken coops and pigsties and slaughterhouse. A lot of the buildings you're going to see are actually dormitories for people to live in.
These three houses up here were built in 1922. Architects and state workers building them.
But then there are a lot of the hospital buildings that are still around and the tunnels, which I'm sure you will go look at.
I came from there. I had a flashlight.
Some are just exposed and some have been reincorporated into the later buildings. The majority of the deaths are not sensational. They are sad but significant in volume.
All right, so right behind me here we have this beautiful water tower. Personally really like the color, but what is more interesting is what I'm standing on right now, which is a possible potter's field. And I just learned that term a few minutes ago. What that means is it could be a place where they have buried some of the patients back many decades ago, or people that they couldn't identify.
Well, I've seen estimates as low as 2,500, as high as 4,000. most of which are from the tuberculosis period. Deaths that happen later are much more sensational.
One of the more recent notable deaths that have occurred here, a murder-suicide that happened not between patients, but between maintenance workers, if I remember that correctly. The first part occurred somewhere in the building here, and the second part occurred down in the tunnels, which we have explored already.
In the 60s, we didn't cure tuberculosis, but we knocked it back to the point that it is a background disease in the world. And they tried to keep this hospital open as the Indiana Center for Chest Diseases, but the state found that they just didn't need to have a rural quarantine hospital.
So they shut the facility down.
And it reopened after a purchase by a family from Chicago of accountants the father and his two sons, their middle names were Lee, Allen, and Bryant. And so they opened this place as a nursing home named Lee, Allen, Bryant.
Over here, right across this roof, we have a building built in the later part of the 20th century, a little bit taller. And right next to us, we have the remains of what was once another patient facility.
So when they opened this place as a nursing home, they did not get the original influx of patients that they were expecting. They were expecting to have, I don't know the exact number, but 150, 200, 250 patients in on day one when they were ready, as this place closed and this place opened. So they were looking around for another opportunity to get up and running because this was an expensive place to run. They found a hospital up north that was a psychiatric ward that was closing. And they were desperately looking for places to place their patients. And they were expecting one or two at a time. And the Lee Allen Bryant family said, we'll take them all. And so they brought all of the psychiatric patients and converted one of the buildings into a psychiatric ward.
We have the psychiatric ward here. A really quick rundown. On the first floor, we have, I believe, reception and mixed men and women. Second floor, we also have mixed men and women. Third floor is for women who couldn't be with men. Fourth floor is for men who couldn't be with women. The fifth floor, and maybe the creepiest, is for violent men. It's kind of more of the same. This is mixed men and women. Now, apparently this was left this way, not because somebody set up all of these little, I don't know, we have trays and batteries and cups here, but because this facility, when it was operating, shut down under less than ideal circumstances. U.S. Marshals actually came in here. There were many lawsuits. Their license to practice got revoked, and so it still has a lot of the equipment that it was using on the day it closed in 2011. Licensing
was for running a hospital. It didn't specify what kind of hospital, and so another round of lawsuits tied up in that, and but it stayed that way, and it ran until 2011. And in 2011, when it closed under dubious circumstances.
And so the state of Indiana pulled their license, and without a license, no one could really afford to run a hospital. And so everybody just walked away, and everything was left behind.
There was some tax problems. There was some malpractice suits, a lot of wrongful death suits. Their license got pulled. And the U.S. Marshals came in and shut the place down and removed everybody.
So we're on the fourth floor, the next to the top floor. This is a floor for men who couldn't be around women, which is explained by the single can of Michelob Ultra right there.
In terms of paranormal locations, the central nursing home, the central nurses station in the nursing home is a popular one, as is the cafeteria areas of the psychiatric ward.
I feel like literal acid reflux right now as soon as I walked in here. We talked to the owners, and they said a lot of people feel emotions around here, and it's a little off-putting. I'm not gonna lie. So we are on the roof of the Indiana State Sanatorium psychiatric building right now. I believe in 4 separate incidents, there have been people who have jumped off this roof, 3 to their death, 1 survived and was a paraplegic. Very weird to have that all happen on this fairly small roof. You know, walking around here, every so often there will be just kind of a noise or two that'll make you pause and kind of think for a second about whether you should continue into the next room.
The old spooky buildings kind of came along when I bought it. They didn't cost a lot. They actually probably were a detriment to the value of the property. And shortly after I bought it, I was contacted by television networks that wanted to film paranormal activity out here or paranormal television shows, and I said yes, and the rest is kind of history.
I don't think we have had a day since March, maybe.
No one came. No one was there.
That 0 people came to visit. And we are opening a bed and breakfast in the superintendent's mansion.
And so this is being developed into a
kind of a
bed and
bedroom.
breakfast.
It's kind of where people are coming to do what they're doing out here. It's a place for them to stay.
So that people will be able to stay here and then get a flashlight tour as kind of a package and to stay in a spooky old building. We have done a lot of cleaning in the sense of getting rid of filth and detritus from the building decaying and managing the roofs as they have started to fail.
Only about 1/3 of the buildings are still here from the tuberculosis era.
We try and create the best experience we possibly can. We take input from our customers, we talk to other purveyors of paranormal investigating, and we have tried to put together the best package we can.
Now we get people from all over the world come and look for ghosts, and they say they find them.